maybe you told me.
Yeah, I'm happy to share.
Oh, good.
I work at the Aspen Institute, and I work in our leadership training division. So we kind of have two types of events we do. The most common across our division are small group seminars, about 20 people, although we found in the virtual space that closer to 10 is kind of a better number.
Yeah.
These seminars are on values-based leadership, so we do text-based dialogue discussions moderated by one of our trained moderators as part of the organization, and we offer these sessions both through youth leadership programs, also to high-achieving CEOs, C-suite leaders through our different fellowship programs. The other kind of event that I work on is basically a reunion event for some of those fellowships. So we had our first virtual version of that in August, but that brings together about 300 to 500 people from our different fellowships for some of those seminar dialogues, some just networking, connecting, as well as sort of plenary main stage speakers.
Oh, great. That sounds like really interesting content. I'm sure you get some nice mix of senior folks and youth, and very cool. I'll hope to, and I'll be speaking a little bit about our Voice platform for reunions. I think it's a really interesting example. So, Ray, do you want to start, or should we ask one more person to share a little bit about the organization?
To the company called Retreat Guru. We are a SaaS-enabled marketplace for wellness retreats. So if you've booked a retreat at Esalen or Hollyhock up in Canada, a bunch of major retreat centers, all of that back end actually happens through us. And then we also have a marketplace for participants to find wellness retreats. And of course, the whole retreat industry shifted dramatically as we move into COVID, and so people are trying to figure out, retreat centers are trying to figure out how to host their, what were in-person events online, and so we're trying to figure out what we can build into our product, and where we can have partnerships and where we can, how we can better sort of serve our network of hundreds of retreat centers.
Great.
I'm on mute.
I just muted that person. That's very interesting. I've been both to Hollyhock and Esalen, so definitely feel the depth of the work that you're trying to support. And great to meet you. And we'd hope to definitely hear from you if there's anything that you see today that we can do to support your trainings, that sort of thing. So
thanks.
Cool. So Ray, do you want to?
Yes, that's great. Let's get started.
So I will. Do you want me to pull up the presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. We'll do that and take us into that view. So we'll be back to see each other here in a minute. All right. Take it away. And by the way, you can email support@maestroconference.com if you, for some reason, have any technical issues. You can also raise your hands at the top of your screen and press, say, the number 5. I'll use pressing 1 for questions, but press 5 if you get technical issues, and somebody will grab you in a breakout and help you get to what you need to do.
Awesome. Okay, can everyone hear me okay? Brian, can you hear me okay?
Sure can.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. This is Missy. As you may know, I've been helping you guys with testing all of these demos. We're really excited today to test Maestro Conference, and a couple of you I know have tested Maestro, so we're really excited to see and hear your experience in this demo and following. So Ray's going to take us through a couple of things, and then we'll review the agenda.
Thanks, Missy, and thank you all for joining us. If you've been on a conveners.org call, you know that we like to start off with a threshold moment and just opportunity to get us grounded for the call. The image I selected today is a biker on a path, and if you know anything about me, you know that I love to bike and be outside, and I also think it's really important to just invest in health, especially when we all are spending so much time at home. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and just take a moment to think about something outdoors that you like to do, or something that brings joy or sparks joy. I'll give you about 20 seconds or so to just reflect. Great, thank you so much. Next, I want to go ahead and just introduce the team so you can gain a sense of who is behind the scenes and helping pull this together. I'm Ray Champion, Director of Operations. Also on this call, we have Stephanie Brady, Sarah Joy Pond, as well as Candy Tai. I wanted to give a special shout out to Missy Franzen, who has been helping us pull together all of these platform test drives, and we really could not have pulled this off without Missy. So very grateful for all the support she's brought to this project. A little bit about conveners.org. We are a membership organization. If this is your first time with us, I certainly encourage you to get in touch with us to discuss our membership program. We also have advisory services where we help folks plan and execute their convenings. And most importantly, to pull those things together, we're a community. So we offer events like this for free just to help conveners and support them in building the best. Couple of things I want to highlight in terms of our work is that we are 100% open to building community and working and supporting you. And so I certainly encourage you to reach out to us if you would like a free consultation with our team to help answer any questions, whether it's about platforms or about facilitation techniques. Our team is open and available, and the link is here. I also wanted to highlight an upcoming training that we have, the Virtual Convening Certification, which is on October 13th and October 15th, an opportunity to really transition your convening from in-person to virtual. We talk about platforms, we talk about energy, we talk about timing, we go through all the technical tips. It's a great opportunity. This is our fifth cohort of the Virtual Convening Certification, so we learned a lot along the way, and we're certainly happy to help support you as you transition your convening. Now I'll pass it back to Missy to share what we have upcoming on this call.
Awesome. Thanks, Ray. So we're just in our welcome and intro right now, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into just a quick walkthrough, a 15-minute walkthrough of the platform as a whole, and the Maestro Conference staff will walk us through that. And then we'll do breakouts where we get a breakout into about 3 different sessions, and you'll be able to have some direct time with the Maestro Conference staff to ask questions. And then we'll have about 10 minutes to explore the rest of the platform, and the Maestro Conference staff will give you some directions on what to expect from the rest of the platform, so you're not just wandering around on your own. And then we'll come back for Q&A and closing with everyone all together. So for almost the rest of the call, the Maestro staff will be walking us through and kind of managing our flow. So Brian, if you want to take over and kind of jump right in and then introduce your staff so they know who they're talking to, that would be great.
Great. So yeah, really delighted to be here. I've been a fan. I've been a long-term member of Social Ventures Network, Social Venture Circle, that are partner with conveners, and I've been around folks from conveners for many years. So it's an honor to be here. So delighted to work with you. It would be a really good idea to have a slide about our staff, and it was not one that we put together. So what I am going to do is, excuse me, I should drink a glass of water here. I'm going to just kind of walk you through a few slides about who we are, and then we're going to dive into showing some of the platform and some of the platforms, and we'll get into breakouts. So our mission here, excuse me just one second, let me drink a glass of water. Okay, yeah, our mission here is to light up the world with the power of the kind of conversations that you're already hosting. Those special conversations that really engage every voice and within a shared purpose. So, these are not, sometimes, people talk about things on Twitter as a conversation, And that is a form of conversation, but we're talking about these, and some people say, well, these are facilitated conversations, but often they can be open space or more self-generated. But people coming together, and it's not one person watching, or 200 people watching one person, or watching a panel with maybe a little bit of Q&A. We're talking about the kinds of things where everybody's voice is heard. So that for us, that essentially does involve an option for breakouts. And it also involves other tools where everybody gets to chime in, where everybody gets to type something and kind of integrate with each other, vote on ideas, upvote them, that sort of thing. So there's a variety of tools, but certainly breakouts is part of that. And why is that? We believe that the power of conversations to build relationships, develop minds, open hearts, and change the world. And we've got mission-backed investors who are also from some of the circles that you're in. And really proud of our 10-year track record as a leader in conferencing breakouts. So let me move on to our next slide here. So as I mentioned, better breakouts, and we are now launching this video product that you're in now with breakouts, but we've been a leader in audio breakouts for many years, and tools that give everyone a voice. So some of our customers, we've had most of the Democratic presidential campaigns, the Biden, Clinton, Sanders campaigns. The Obama 12 campaign ran basically completely on Maestro Conference, the Obama White House, etc. We've had President Michelle Obama on the platform several dozen times, and many progressive groups, but also groups sort of like the World Bank, Airbnb, etc. So often really wanting to engage their network in a positive, something positive. Sometimes it's a class, it's just a straight up class. We certainly have educators, but most of our customers are really trying to kind of move people into action and build a deep community around something that people are really passionate about. So that's it. So I've mentioned the original Maestro Conference platform. We were definitely the platform that popularized the concept of breakout groups in conferencing. We hold several patents in that space, and had millions of participants, and we are still a feature leader in that. But we've added video now, and so this is the one product on the right that we're in today, Maestro Conference Video. It is a beta product. This is not. We don't have any. We've not released it to paying customers yet. We have a handful of folks in kind of a private beta. And so, and we're changing it daily. In fact, there was something we changed yesterday that, was a step forward in some ways and back in others, just stuff like that. So for the next month or so, we will be making updates. There's people using it. It can definitely create tremendous value for folks. But I just want to, this is an early stage product. We also have this voice platform. So you're also going to see this today. We call this guided breakouts when we're in Maestro Conference. This is a completely unique platform. So the Maestro Conference Video in some ways competes with Zoom, and is just going to be better at breakouts. The voice is, which I say, I'm going to take you into this. It's guided breakouts. In this case, we're all here at the same time. So it's like a conferencing platform, but you can actually use it. You can actually give guidance to people. Like, for example, you say, we've got a lot of people that want to do a reunion, but they might be on different calendars. They might say, well, I want to do a reunion just with my particular class. Oh, I'm going to set this up just with my company. And so with voice, you can design the guidance for small groups, and you record it on video or on audio, or you can give written instructions, and you'll see it. So you'll see it, and you'll see it in this conferencing context, but imagine when we get there that you could sort of send a link, and it would generate small group conversations with your facilitation elements, your guidance, your activities. You can do integrated web activities, and that you wouldn't even have to attend. So it's sort of a create small groups on autopilot, and we talked about whether to demo today voice or Maestro Conference. We're primarily in Maestro Conference, but we'll show you a bit of voice, and so I'm excited for you to see that. We'll call that guided breakouts. So yeah, Zoom is clearly a very strong product. A noble competitor in the conferencing space. A lot of advantages. They just came in and were just I think they were the fastest company to $100 million annual revenue, and as a SaaS product, very popular. They're very good, and I will say though that the breakouts, and I participate in meetings on other organizations, anti-racism workshop lately on Zoom, and it is it's often we're in a breakout and it's like, wait, what was the question again? There's no clear, easy chat access to the host. There's no clear access to the group as at large. There's no guidance, so that we have a lot of features that Zoom does not. So that is going to be where we are going to continue to advance and be a feature leader. So, and if you have any questions of anything I've said so far, definitely please press 1 on your phone. Or you can use that top button. I'm sorry, on your phone. Use the audio platform here. That button at the top right where you see with hands, you can go into the hands for 1. So I've mentioned that we are about feature advantages for these breakouts. So for participants, that means more connection, more different ways to share, better access to the host. So for example, when you're in a breakout group, you could type or raise your hand and the host could drop into your breakout. Clear guidance when needed. So often you go into a breakout and you're like, well, there's 3 discussion questions. So we'll see this with guided breakouts. You can type those questions, you can provide some audio, you could provide some video, not only questions, but you could provide activities, you could show Google Slides. So there's all sorts of things you can kind of set up as a series of steps, and they just see one step at a time. The step that they're on, you can show them the agenda, you can show them, everything else, but they're getting the information they need when they need it. So we're definitely the only platform that I know of that has anything like that. More control. So, for example, on Zoom breakouts, you have to create somebody as a co-presenter in order to let them walk themselves between breakouts or to name breakouts. And then that means also that they could kick you off or accidentally do all kinds of things. So instead, we allow our breakouts you can, as a host, you can create that ability. And then likewise, for creating breakouts, with Zoom, you can do random breakouts or you can pick them by hand. With Maestro Conference, you can use data. So today, for this meeting, you were asked to, when you registered, to put in something about your title and organization, but we could have put in region or whether you've taken the course or not. And now you could say, well, let's create some breakouts, but distribute the folks who have taken the course so that they're equally divided among the breakouts. Or let's put all of the regions together so that people, in the southern region or the European or Asian regions, et cetera, would be in the same breakout. Or you want to make geographic distribution, so let's move them apart. So you can use all kinds of data, which they could also just raise their hand if they want to. You can pull it in on the fly. You can ask it during registration. You can set it up from the admins panel. You can use an API. You can sort of feed in data and then use that data to create breakouts. And also our platform, I should say, scales. We can do breakouts with up to 500 people. Although I think with video, you want to keep only a handful of people on video. You can't have 500 people broadcasting, seeing video from 500 folks. But we are testing the scales. We think we should be able to show up to 10 or 20 webcams to everybody, even when you have 500 folks. So yeah, and then so that's for the advantages for the participants and for the host. You can watch and listen and communicate with the breakouts. So that is when people are in breakouts, you can drop in invisibly and listen. You can watch. You can show yourself and watch. You can type. You can make announcements to all of the breakouts. Orally, like, hey, I was just walking around and hearing that people got a little confused on one question, so I just want to clarify this, or make an easy audio announcement, like, hey, take about 2 more minutes or 5 more minutes, so you could get a lot more access to the groups while they're in the breakouts. And then, like I said, this kind of setting up this guidance, and once you've set up that guidance for your breakouts, somebody else will say, well, shoot, I missed the meeting yesterday. Oh, well, I've set one up for Friday. I'm not going to be there, but you can get there. The platform will automatically place you in groups and walk you through the guided breakout material. So you could send that to even thousands of people, and the platform would automatically create small groups and then use your guidance to walk them through material. And that's happening. That's happening every day on the Voice platform. And so it's really a unique functionality that no other conferencing has. So we forgot on the agenda to do some polls. So let me just move into those now. I was going to do some polls earlier, and I think we just got started. I was so interested in listening to people. So yeah, let's take us into a poll view. And Jeff, if you could set up those polls. Let's see. I see here. There's a. So I'm going to ask people to indicate with your hand icon. Very good. And let me pull up the document. Here we go. The prompt is, what sector do you work in? So the closest to these. So facilitation. If you're in facilitation in some way, go ahead and press 1. If it feels closer to being like corporate training or training folks, press 2. And this is actually more of a function, I'd say. Educational sector. So that's in a classroom environment, more like students. If you're doing nonprofit or association work, press 4. So again, facilitation 1, and then find other, press 5. So press 5 or at the top of your screen, that raise hand. So facilitation 1, corporate training 2, educational sector 3, nonprofits and associations 4, and other, something else, press 5. And so let's take a look here. So here we go. So here's one way you give everybody a voice. So now as people are typing, we're seeing the percentages. There's a couple different ways you can either show or not show the folks who are who haven't voted. And so we get to see that the something else is at 32%, and a lot of nonprofits and associations here. So great. So that's one way you can see. And the other thing about these polls, I'll just mention from a feature perspective, this is not just sort of a straw poll, but you could actually use it to an opt-in. So if you said, well, who wants to sign up for this to get some more information from the course that they mentioned? So I could put everybody's hands down. I'll just, we don't necessarily have to use this. Don't expect the email, but I'll give you the demo. Put everybody's hands down, and I said, well, select 1 if you would like to get the information, some special information about the course that Ray mentioned in October on virtual facilitation. So here I can actually capture the names and emails of everybody who is pressing 1. And I can do a snapshot. I can copy paste them into a spreadsheet. So this is a way to do opt-ins. And again, I don't think Zoom has that feature. And I apologize if I'm trying to, like I say, totally respect Zoom, but I think it's where almost everybody's using it. And that's sort of the reference set. So I think in order for us people to understand the advantages and disadvantages for a given event. So that's another piece here. So that was on our, so very good. So so let's do a few more things on the demo here. So one thing you want to do sometimes is ask people to brainstorm or share what they've been learning in their group, or everybody wants to share some ideas. So this is a integrated text document, and let's see here. I can go ahead and there we go. Google Documents going to come up. So now everybody can go ahead and type, and you can actually set these up ahead of time with some prompts. But let's just go ahead, and we're going to do a bigger retreat here. Let's list some of our favorite foods for the retreat, and it's a nice way to give everybody. You could also do something like, I've seen people use this to list your questions, and so you can list a question and put a star by it, and you can kind of give people a chance. You can do it after breakouts where you say, hey, go ahead and do this. You can also do breakout specific groups. So there's several different options, and we're also going to see an option here once we're in those guided breakouts. There's also a way where we'll integrate Google Docs there. So you can send, of course, a link through other conferencing platforms, and then they can click on it, and it opens a Google Doc with a new tab. The concern is that sometimes you've lost them. Right now, they're just in their browser. They're not in your application anymore. If I want to switch to a view where we're going to do something else, then it's hard to get them back. So we think it's better to be integrated and in the platform. And if I switch people back to a people view, where we're going to just sort of see each other, then I'm like, okay, great, here we are. I can just switch that view, and then we can move back into that Google document, and and then we're all there in the same document, and all the results are there still. So I could, so that's one thing I wanted to show. Let's see here. We've already seen screen sharing, and I did not turn on my camera. I realized I meant to turn on my camera, so you can also do a PowerPoint where you're also showing the face that you've seen there. On this people view, there's options to only show the folks that we have kind of given unmuted. So I'll apply this and just kind of show you some of these features. So here, if I'm let's say I only want to just show for a minute just myself because I'm presenting, then I can sort of only show one person. Let's see if did I do this right? No, I did not do enable. Sorry, people view. There we go. So there's you can just sort of show one person, and if Missy's also going to talk, I give her the microphone, and then she's on the screen, and Ray, and so now you can see all three of us. And then there's also this option to sort of show everybody at the bottom, where sort of get a nice, more like Zoom, where you can sort of see everybody who is who's not here. So there's two different options there, and there's coming a lot more on this view. So any questions so far? Go ahead and raise your hand with that one position, and I will take any questions. And otherwise, I'm going to move us through a few more features. We'll move into breakouts here in a second. Usage poll, screen share, idea board. So Jeff, could you take us to the idea board? My colleague Jeff is helping us out here, and then we'll do an interactive browser after that. So idea board is a different way if you have, sometimes depending on your scale, if you've got 250, 500 people, that shared document can be a little bit chaotic. So you just want people to be able to sort of, enter ideas, and you've got different voting options, like can I upvote and downvote ideas? These may be questions. We may be trying to kind of crowdsource the sense of the room. So we can set up the idea board. And so go ahead and just we had it for a second, Jeff. There we go. Go ahead and enter an idea. Let's do ideas for. Let's just actually type questions. Actually, let's do this. Things that you would want out of conferencing platforms. And you can be as silly as you want. I would want it to bring coffee. That would be really nice. Nice hot coffee, because sometimes I'm in a meeting after a meeting, and so you can enter some ideas, and then you can. We have it set up right here. You can upvote or downvote. Yes, free food also. That's a great idea. So you can order the ideas. You can sort of see the newest or random or alphabetical ideas, and so you can also use this to kind of crowdsource. So you can do this while you're in breakouts, and have every breakout kind of share their idea, and then upvote other ideas, that sort of thing. So a lot of different tools there. And so, virtual babysitters. I like that. I think I like that more than the food. So you can also have where you give a certain number of votes, and you get. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. So anyway, so there's an idea board there, and that's another example of these tools that give everyone a voice, and you have not had to click a link. There are definitely tools out there that do this sort of thing as web tools, and you can integrate them in. So now let's say you do have a mural or a Mentimeter or something that is a website. Could be a purchase option for your retreat. It could be a Office Live 365 document, and you normally would send a link to everybody. But here you're like, hey, if people want to go ahead and purchase Maestro Conference or get on our list, I don't want to just show you the screen. I want you to be able to interact with it. So I'd invite you to click on one of those links: features, video breakouts, demo, pricing, or more. You're actually on our website while staying within the platform. So you can use this to show your various tools, a donation page, like a web tool. We've got folks doing register to vote events, that sort of thing. And again, all of these kind of what we called these are embedded documents. You can't actually do a Facebook page, by the way. Facebook and many kind of very secure websites, certainly like bank websites and PayPal and things like that, they do not let themselves be rendered within somebody else's web page. But unless they, specifically preclude that, then it should be available. And so yeah, you can do all kinds of tools here. And when we're in those guided breakouts, when you've got like, oh, here's a question, here's a tool, here's a second question, here's a second tool, you can set up the URLs for these kinds of activities. So very good. Well, I think I'm going to create. Actually, let me show you. Let's move into this screen share view again, and I'm just going to show you a little bit on how to create breakouts. So I'm not going to show you a lot here based on our time. I want to get us into, but I am going to show you. Here I can sort of pick on people if somebody. So by the way, there was a question, so I'm going to just show you this. So just unmuted Sarah Joy. So Sarah, Sarah Joy, do you have a question? Might be muted on your phone or on your.
You're right. I am muted.
You're on your locally, yeah.
I'm wondering if there is a chat function anywhere where I can interact with the whole.
There sure is. Great question. Yeah. Let me turn that on. So I will show you. I will also show you here the. Let's see here. Here we go. Well, see, I'm in screen share view. So yeah, I'll drag this down. We're going to see I'm going to actually just show you how to enable it. So I'm going to drag this in. We're going to be in kind of this fractal view because it's going to be a view of the screen of the screen. But if you ignore that part and we go to any of our settings, like right now we're in screen share settings, and over here under permissions, we want everybody to do a public chat window. Wait a second, is that saved? And that should give us a chat window at the bottom. There's also going to be chat within our breakouts coming up, but I'm actually, like I say, we changed some things yesterday, and I don't know. Normally we do. We chat all the time.
I think a lot of us know how that goes when you're pushing updates on a constant basis.
Yeah, exactly. And we could have slowed that kind of thing down for this event, but Jeff, do you know if I'm doing something wrong? Feel free to make it right. Let me show you the conductors interface here. So this is another thing I can do is create breakouts. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to move into breakouts, and I'll just show you how that goes. So I think I'll select everybody. I think me and Ray. Now I'll pull myself out here. Actually, I'm going to select everybody but myself. That's what I'll do. We're going to put everybody into breakouts. So I'm going to create breakouts. Oh, sorry. Let me drag my tab down so you can see what I'm doing. So I sort of selected everybody but myself, and I'm going to create breakouts. And I also could have used some drop downs, different folks on people who'd raise their hands or that kind of thing. Create breakouts, and let's do groups. We've got looks like 17 people. So if we do groups of 6, we'll have 3 breakouts. And let's use random, but I could also do people who've kept keeping hands position or keeping the people who had certain titles together, that sort of thing. We'll just do random groups, and I will create those. And when I put you on breakout mic, we're going to go ahead and get started with the guided breakouts view. So within your breakouts, you're going to have some choices to make, and when one person presses a button, it's going to navigate for everybody because you're there as a group. And you can also provide some recorded instructions for that. I just thought I would tell it to you live. You can also put it up in a slide with instructions. So we actually give you a chance. We thought we'd like you to do one actual question, make it very brief because we want to get back to features, but just do one actual question just so you can feel the concept of having a video actually create conversation. So I would say, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to just follow the instructions on the screen. You'll choose which type of question you want to ask, you want to discuss. You'll hear it. It'll be about 10 seconds. Take a couple of you to share one thing on the topic, and then you'll come back, and then I will be able to make announcements throughout. I'll be able to also watch you within that. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and take you into into guided breakouts view, Jeff. And I will pull this out. And it's a demo, I think, right? So guided breakouts. Oh, I'm sorry. I've muted everybody. I've muted everybody, so I'm going to. Sorry about that. Now you can talk to each other.
Hi, this is Missy. Can anyone hear me?
Can hear you, yep. Just waiting for the videos to come up.
Oh, perfect.
Yep, can hear you.
Who else is in this breakout?
There should be about 8 of us.
Oh, great.
I'll just read who it is. Our pictures and names will come up here shortly. It's just not quite coming up yet, but it's Dan, Jeff, and Julian from Maestro.
I'm hearing that we did not do that right. And I admit we did not test guided breakouts today. Like I said, we did actually sort of a big view update last night. And, Jeff, that doesn't look like there was let's see here, a demo in there. Let's try this again.
There we go.
There's something happened.
Now you know who's in the room.
That's great. We were sitting there going, we have a
screen. I'll just wait. I don't know, Maria and Missy and Patty, your cameras might be off, and that's totally fine. You can leave them off. So basically what this is a preset thing that you can use for training or events or conversations or whatever you want to use it for. And so in this case, me, Jeff, and I'm reading. Me, Jeff, and Julian are of course part of the conference in voice. But if you were just coming in here from a Maestro conference event, or this can also stand on its own, you'd be going through this on your own, and you'd have, your choice of how many people are in each of these groups. And so you could have 100 of, groups of, what are we now, 7, and each group would be, conducting their own thing at their own pace, and so on. So let's do what this is. So, at the top there, discuss a global issue or something about you, or discuss platform questions. So I say, let's just tell us one thing that most people don't know about you. How about that? That'd be a fun, quick. Go ahead, anyone.
So we get to click on get to know you, global issues, or platform question, and it'll take us to the next step, right?
I should explain that too. So yes, the participants can push those blue buttons anytime, like someone just did. And that's fine. Let's go ahead and do this. And you guys still hear me okay? What? Yeah, okay, great. So go ahead and let's just do that.
Biggest gap?
What are the biggest gaps with the video conferencing platforms that you're currently using?
That you're seeing with the
biggest gaps that I'm hearing from people are around participant interaction. They're like, the streaming is not an issue. Anybody can stream. Anybody can do the presentation. It's all about, like, how do we enable participants to interact and to connect with each other. Networking is particularly thorny.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We actually use this platform for a large virtual conference, and they used it for networking. So in between keynotes and sessions, they would let people just jump into these 5 or so at a time, and they would network. And they said it was great because it was random, and they could just talk to each other and have some quick facilitation questions.
Either I just wanted to make an announcement. This is an example if you wanted to give people, take a few more minutes, that sort of thing. I've been able to sort of see each group. It looked like good progress. And so just to continue.
What are some of the things that you're seeing with
each other and get to know cohort ambassadors or their mentors? So we're seeing a lot of that, and it's been really hard to do with the Teams platform that we're using. Oh, I got disconnected. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we still hear you.
I'm guessing I'm having some issues, but I think the main thing is networking for us.
Yep. Good. Someone else? Patty or Shelby? Patty, you're maybe muted locally. Let me check. Let me just check. You might be muted. Let's see. Hold on a sec. Okay. Try it now.
Okay. You've got it?
Yep. Good.
Great. Yeah, Shelby, I had the same problem. My page was loading. I didn't have any images at all, and then it disconnected me, and then I popped back on, and it gave me the chance to turn my camera on again. So here I am. I guess just challenges with some of them. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse with the same thing. It's connecting. I was just on the Connectpreneur event earlier today, and I have 500 chat like that I've saved that I'll search for some keywords, but unless you catch people right as they post their LinkedIn and you try and find them, it's like you're moving at 1,000 miles an hour, and it's really not enjoyable. And I think it's just a challenge in general, right? Because the temptation to multitask here, and I'm digging through my inbox, and I have another call at 2, and it's just like it can be distracting. Like face to face is so different, and we're all doing what we can to meet that this way. So.
Yep. No, I get it. And
I never thought I would long for those stacks of business cards. Like I always hated them, and now I'm like, oh, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
I used to like them because it would force me to like actually look up the organization, and then I would put it into Salesforce. Like I had this whole process, and I was like, it reminded me who they were. So I had this chance to do it again, and now I'm like, I don't like if you like me, friend me, whatever on LinkedIn, and there's not a history of how we met in our chat. Give me like 24 hours, and I will have no idea who you are. And it's not intentional. I can't. No. It falls out the back of my brain. I just can't do it.
Yeah, that's great. Who didn't? Shelby or Missy?
Sorry. I don't really have a great answer for this. I think I'm just trying to do a lot of listening right now to sort of what our different retreat centers need, and trying to think about what we can build and integrate into our product. So interesting to think about. It does seem like there's a lot of additional features here for taking an in-person event and bringing it online. Zoom is really good for just a regular meeting. If you're really trying to go outside of that, there's a lot of additional stuff here. So I think I'm more in just the learning phase right now.
Yep. Good. Makes sense. Missy, how about for you? Anything in particular?
Yeah, so I think it's probably along the same lines as everyone else, but being able to organize the chat and the connection that you can build within a platform, because everyone has all different types of chats or different ways you can do, I don't know, chat roulette or the Tinder version of networking, but it's hard to organize everything and keep track of it and remember who everyone is, and also be able to naturally network as opposed to in real life you could walk up to someone and talk to them or just have coffee with them, and everything over video and chat is just so hard to keep track of. And I love organizing things. I love keeping track of things and tracking them. So this is my nightmare. Not this, but overall trying to keep track.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, it totally makes sense. Great. Well, let's move forward. Why don't one of you click the blue bar there, and we'll go forward. Right. And so this is, we're in some of the additional features of the guided breakout, which is also our voice platform. And so this is an example of a shared document. It could be pretty much any cloud app right? So it could be Mentimeter or Miro or Spotify. You could play an audio clip, YouTube. It could be a video clip that we saw earlier. And so, this is just an example of a Google Doc. And then there's a ton more of other things that we could go into in the guided breakouts. And again, just examples of what you can do here. There is screen share, like we had back in Maestro conference. If you wanted to screen share with a smaller group, all of this is built in the designer, so it is all pre-built in advance. So it kind of makes it foolproof, right? Because you're just clicking on the blue buttons to move forward, and you've got all kinds of navigation. You can go back, you can go forward, put timers on pages so that everyone is going in the same pace. And then also you're able to nudge people. If they're taking too long on one page, you can say, "Hey, you're 10 minutes on this page. It should take 1 or 2 minutes. Why don't you go ahead and move forward?" So, this is an example of taking. This is a Google slide that we're on now, and now we're on a Google spreadsheet. So pretty much any, and I don't know what the thing is about food, but we seem to have as we sit here at home, right, in our desks, our work desks, like, okay, next step is food. Speaking of which, I just got a special delivery for my morning smoothie from my daughter. Thank you. So, that gives you an idea of what's happening in voice, and the guided breakouts. And then we can all go back to Maestro Conference, the live event. One other thing to talk about in this is that these can run at any time, right? You don't have to be the host if you don't want to be. You don't have to be here. This can run, 3 times a week at certain times if you want to get certain audiences. And of course, you want to run it when there's more than 2 people, right? Because then those people can interact with each other as they go through it. So it's kind of a Swiss Army knife. This is a great example of content that each person would fill out. So it could be a donation page, it could be a test, it could be a register to vote, and each person would fill out their own, and no one would move forward until they were done. So, any questions? Any questions there for the and voice?
Are you able to maybe show us the back end of how you set up one of these kind of guided breakout experiences?
Yeah, there is. Let's see. Let me take us to. Kind of went there for a minute. Let's see. I need to just make my window a little bit bigger here. Okay. Topic index. Designing. Okay. So there is a web-based. We call it the designer. How aptly named. On the left side are the pages, the different pages, and then in the main screen are all the things, where the videos go, what the buttons say, what the title says, what the content is. So it's pretty straightforward because it all runs. Of different ways you can actually use the embeds. Other questions? Well, Shelby, Maria, any other questions?
Embed this into our product or into like an LMS. If we're working with integrating LearnDash so that.
Yeah, you absolutely could. Yep. This is embeddable, and we just an example is we've embedded the voice platform, which again stands on its own, into Maestro.
Okay, so we're in one group now. Let me change the view as well, so everybody can hear each other, and we'll go back to people view. So there we go. All right. So right now I've got everybody unmuted. Feel free to mute yourself if you're got some background noise or don't want to talk. How'd that go? Who's got questions, comments? We could definitely do the kind of thing I could call on one person from each group. I could have taken shares from each group within various views, but I'll just do it here in kind of one big room since it's only 15 of us.
We didn't have video in our breakout. It wasn't showing up.
That's odd. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Did the other groups?
I didn't have video at first, and then after refreshing my page, it did show up. But then I had some audio problems, but it ended up working out.
Okay. Sorry about that.
So my video slowed down, so I was maybe like 20 seconds behind everyone visually, but I could hear them in real time. And then it dropped the call, and then somehow I could still hear you guys, even though my screen said the call had ended. So I made it back okay, but...
We prioritize the audio, and we give the audio a whole separate kind of priority channel. So there's all kinds of things that can go wrong with your with whatever's going on with your webcam, with video, etc. Definitely sounds pretty problematic. I will say the voice platform, when you're doing it independently, has become very reliable. So we've got definitely several meetings every day, using multiple sessions per meeting. And so that kind of guidance, you can so for example, I'll just give one use case. I don't know if we still have the person here who is involved with Hollyhock and Esalen, et cetera, but you can say, well, here's a reunion event, like just introduce yourselves, like reintroduce yourselves. What have you learned from your event? You could design a general reunion event that's not course specific. And then you could create a single link just for everybody, like, hey, let's just have a reunion, everybody who's been to Hollyhock. But probably more likely you'd say, well, let's do it one for this one retreat that was 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to schedule an event for next week. You take a few seconds, literally like 15 seconds. Here's the time, and I've got a link, and then you broadcast out to that class. And then, tomorrow you say, oh, well, here's a different class that was a week and a half ago. Create an event, share the link to them, and that's all you have to do. Send them the link. The platform, if you ended up with several hundred people on one event, it would automatically create the group size that you specify, and each group would be able to walk through the guidance that you just basically design once. So anyway, that's definitely much more reliable, and I think this Maestro conference, as I mentioned, is early beta. So apologize for your experience there. And I think was it Stephanie that ended up rejoining, and we didn't have her with anybody, so apologize for that. So thank you for your patience, Stephanie. Any other questions or comments?
A question about the view. So right now I can see most people are sort of the same size as me, the larger view, and then there's a few people at the bottom who are a smaller view, and I just wonder what that determination is, and if it's my end or...
Yep. No, we're definitely making several options there for how that's handled. So I think, right, and I think if I put everybody in the main room, which is how I'm seeing people, so this is a different view. So right, So now, and you can also have just people who are on, like say right now. Let's see here. That was Phoebe. So there's different options. Like I could have us on microphone and everybody else sort of in that lower row. So you can there are different ways to do it. Where this is actually one of the areas that we're most enhancing right now is to make this a little both more flexible and also sort of automatic, like easier to know what's going on. We're just going to name some different views instead of having be options within what we call people view right now. So yeah, in general, I think this is the kind of thing, and what we found is that people actually like the Zoom UI for stuff like this. So I think for this we're going to do more, make it more Zoom-like, and then just keep our advantages. So there's definitely, this is probably one of the areas that we're most actively developing, along with just sort of ironing out some of the wrinkles you saw today. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great.
Great. Other questions?
Yeah, good question for you around if you're building in an API for other integrations. I'm specifically thinking about this in terms of registration for participants, as well as actually creating meetings.
Yep. Yeah, we've got a great API, very well worn for all of that. You can create events and register folks via a REST API. We've got it, pretty well documented. We've handed people, a bunch of people to document, and that's all of they needed. I will say our support team is not trained on the API, so it is in the documentation. We haven't had to answer questions, but you'd sort of need to read the documentation, or we could, provide an engineer on a bit of an hourly. But yeah, we've got the REST API is very well worn for registration, et cetera. Now, we'd have to look at it for the video link. I actually think it might be perfect. It might need one enhancement to send the link. It'd be a very fast enhancement. So
yeah, we'd want to be sending the emails.
Yeah.
And like figuring out where to place that. So just people
totally.
Know.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. So yeah, you could definitely. I would if the video link isn't there, which I need to check, and maybe Jose, if you could make sure to ask Hafiz to check on the API. Yeah. So yeah, the API is definitely for registration, creating events and registration. There's also an API for controlling the event live, and that one has not been used very much. But the registration is very well worn, and if there's anything, we'll check it for the video events. And if anything's broken, we'll definitely enhance that. That'll be a fast change. So
we've got one more minute. Missy,
yeah.
Ray, do you want to wrap it up, or any last questions? I think Sarah might have a question.
Sarah Joy?
Yeah, my question is around, it seems like this platform is particularly good for when you've got everybody kind of going through an event like as a group, where you send them off into breakouts and then you bring them back together and then you send them off into breakouts. Is there a way to create one where they find their own path through it? Like, is there any functionality that gives them like an agenda to follow or something where they can find their own path through? And
definitely. Well, so one thing we've got, I did not show today, is the, think of unconference or open space, where they can choose their own breakout, name a breakout, create breakouts. That's one way. Another is within the guided breakouts, you can show the agenda and let them choose sort of different directions. I tried to give some impression of that, but that is as a group navigation. And so, but you could kind of combine that with the ability to move yourself. I did not let people here move themselves between breakouts today. But yeah, you could sort of, so that's probably the main thing where, kind of the unconference mode. And we've definitely done a bunch of unconference events.
Or roaming between events.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Does that
interesting? Yeah.
Yeah, be happy to do a demo of unconferencing. I do think we're gonna. This is one of the elements that's going to be over the next several weeks. So I'd recommend getting a demo in a couple of weeks of that. We could definitely do it now, and I think it'd work. But I'd thinking,
you know how
yeah.
that goes.
Yep, exactly. Like we got several engineers working full time on bringing all kinds of enhancements into this.
Ray, are you muted? I see you're trying to talk there.
I was waiting. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I did want to go ahead and wrap us up.
Yes, thank you for being here.
And Brian, I wanted to just ask one final question: is that when do you anticipate the product will exit the beta stage?
Well, we're happy to offer anybody here a free free trial of the private beta. And we are hoping by the end of October that we would be, now we may still call it beta. There's sort of, Gmail was called beta for like 7 or 8 years. So I'd say right now I wouldn't do like a big 200-person event. Just honestly, I mean, I do the kind of thing for 20, 30 people. With friends, and I think they could have a great experience. Now, the voice platform you could just set up and roll with, and if you're just moving into guided breakouts, it should work great. But so I'd say within a month.
Great, that's helpful. And so maybe it might be worth us revisiting this in 2021 when it comes out of the beta again. I want to thank everyone for attending, and I want to especially thank the Maestro conference team. They've been extremely great to work with, very flexible, very communicative. So that's definitely a huge perk amongst the other platforms that we've worked with. If you all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at conveners.org, or feel free to reach out directly